What's your favorite part of playing video games?
Sitting on my butt with a controller in my hand, with a beer in the other, and just sitting there, not moving and playing.
Probably the playing of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say the questing of them? Oh, I love these jokes. Aren't they great? Today we're going to be talking about the MetaQuest 3.
New segment for Game of the Year. Brett's best and worst jokes of the year.
Worst jokes.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about
category
the
of
new
his
Quest
worst.
3 that is now out for everybody to purchase. I'm probably going to buy one.
Of course.
The question is, will it bring you back into VR?
No.
That is a real question. Ignore what this person just said, because I'm not asking him, but I will.
Okay.
Not yet, but we already know his answer. So I guess I'll ask Austin. Why not? Are you excited about this, Austin? Without knowing anything about it.
Absolutely not. And I can get into that.
You know, you
Tell
can
you
call me
everything.
like a super old head about this, but
Okay.
like I don't think VR is like it's nostalgia. It's like it's a gimmick, not nostalgia. It's gimmick.
Yes. Let's go back a little bit when me and Brett were like super about VR. It just got announced. The HTC Vive got announced. I
Yeah.
bought it. It was almost $1,000 headset. So pumped. It's gonna like change gaming. It's gonna elevate gaming. It's gonna have new ways to tell stories. And some of the games that came out at the time were like very arcadey. It's like, okay, we're starting someplace. We're gonna start
Foundation
progressing.
work.
Yeah, and like new headsets started coming out. The graphics started getting better, and the headsets started getting better. And eventually we got to the Quest, which was tetherless. The graphics were awful, but it was a step forward. And PlayStation's evolving, and all these games are coming out, and the story games are coming out, like the one with Horizon that came out recently. It's like, it's like, here are all these big games, and the only one that's actually done anything was Half Life Alyx.
Yep.
But not even that was enough to really propel VR in the right direction. So in my opinion, VR is dead, and we'll get into certain stats about Quest or Reality Labs and stuff. Why I think it's definitely on the decline, and I don't know why we're still trying to develop VR at this point. But yeah, it has not significantly taken off in a way to really help. Now, I think there's places for it to be, like probably in certain industries, probably in the government, probably in the military, where you can do like... okay, we'll learn about that in a little bit. But yeah, I don't think VR is going anywhere, like taking off anytime soon. Brett, what do you got for us?
Well, the great thing is this is not a VR headset.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what is it?
This is a mixed reality headset, meaning it does VR and AR experiences. So
Shit.
the game has changed, my friends.
Ooh.
Maybe you might jump back into this because it is not VR. It is more than that. So here's the deal. So this thing is going to be $500, $499.
Oh.
There you go. They just announced the Apple Vision Pro recently. I'm sure you.
Oh
probably
yeah, we saw that.
That was $3,500.
Oh yeah.
So that's very expensive. So
Use it for your family.
exactly. So the MetaQuest 3 is an enhancement to the MetaQuest 2 in pretty much every single way. But I also want to mention that last year they brought out the MetaQuest Pro. I think it was last year, which was like their Pro version. That's $1,000 headset. The MetaQuest 3 has a better screen and a better refresh rate than the $1,000 MetaQuest Pro, which is kind of wild. I don't know why they did still sell the Quest Pro, but it is what it is. So the resolution per eye is 2064 by 2208, and it has a refresh rate of 120 hertz, which is going to help with people that have motion sickness in this. The higher the refresh rate, the better. It's going to feel more real. So,
I don't think that'll help with motion though.
No, well,
With people with motion sickness, no.
because your eyes perceive at a certain refresh rate that's slower than that of VR.
And is that what's causing the motion, or is it just
what's causing the disorientation that causes people to get sick? Partially, that's part of the reason.
Yeah, that's like what 30% of the whole 100% of motion sickness
I
people.
think it's more than that actually.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I don't believe that, but okay.
Well, because your brain is telling you something, like you're seeing something that's different than what your body is feeling.
It's feeling. Then that's the key thing, right? Is the feeling.
The feeling, yes. But it's the feeling of what you're seeing. So you're seeing something that isn't what your body is
responding to. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it would be that way too.
Yeah. So that's why I tell people with motion sickness.
I think it would help, but it's not going to make it perfect.
Yeah, I tell people with motion sickness, if they're using VR, is to have a fan pointed directly at them.
Yeah.
So in that experience, you actually are like, you feel it as well what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you.
I was thinking wrong. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. You know what?
What's that? Sorry. Okay, take it.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Anyway, so in addition to that, there's a little bit larger field of view, not much from the Quest Pro.
Okay.
So that's the good thing. But if we look at the Quest 2 versus the Quest 3, it's a pretty chunky upgrade for sure. For a little bit.
Bless you.
Excuse me. For a little bit more expense. So the Quest 2 is 1832 by 1920 per eye, and this is 2064 by 2208. The processor's better. It's got more RAM. The battery life's about the same. So it will be a little bit better. The controllers are different, but the biggest thing too is that it's got the Quest 2 had pass through where you can like look out in front of you, but they didn't really have any gains for it because this is a shitty black and white camera.
Yeah.
And it was basically just like when you went to the edge of the screen, you can like, it would show the front and you could like see in front of you or whatever. Now this is going to be full color. So you can see full color inside of your world. And then you can then build full color experiences that are augmented reality inside of that space. So that's the big, I think, kind of clincher there is that in comparison to the $3,500 Vision Pro that's not out yet, this is a much more approachable price point to get into augmented reality experiences that are, I mean, it's not that you're literally looking at the real world, but the closest thing we can get to the real world is to recreate the real world in a camera. So they're capturing the real world and they're putting stuff into it that'll allow you to then.
So like I can have The Walking Dead in my house.
Correct.
Yeah. Basically, they'll regenerate like this whole room, but have a zombie there that I can go and punch.
Yeah. So that kind of idea could come into play and add some new experiences for sure. But not only that, just I think like the better visual clarity is pretty cool. Because I saw I tried the Quest Pro the other day for the first time. The clarity is a huge difference. I didn't realize it was going to be that big of a difference, but it's a huge difference from my Quest 2. So to know this Quest 3 is a better quality screen or better resolution than that of the Quest Pro, I'm kind of excited about it because that just means you're going to have just that much more realistic experience. All that to be said, like you were saying, it's like, will the games be any better? You know, as the experiences you're having in that headset, like you can make it amazing and awesome, but like there's still the fact that you get the motion sickness from like, you're not going to be like walking super fast and then playing this thing in VR because you're going to get sick because your brain is doing something different than your body is doing.
Yeah.
Like that's going to cause a problem. And then also you're just going to run into issues with just the fact that it's hard to make an experience without having a controller in your hand to like navigate the world. You know, it's like you can teleport like they've done in a lot of these games, but like I played a battle royale game in VR and I was like, this is stupid. Like it's gonna be a mouse and keyboard and I'll be on my way. So it's tricky, but it's like it's cool the leaps and bounds that are happening here, and I still feel like there's potential for something to happen. I just don't know like what's going to be the big game or experience that we haven't thought of yet that's going to like bring it to life.
I don't think we have anything. I think Google Glass was maybe the cusp, or like it was really like out in front before VR, kind of like the HTC Vive came out and that was a thing, and people were like, oh, this is really cool. Like you can go, like it has a camera in the front and you can record stuff, I think, and then it could tell you like, oh, you can have a profile on people and it would pop up in your Google Glass and be like, you know, this person from this date at this party. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so like that was out for a bit and then Google killed it.
Yeah.
And like that was like probably the most functional thing that you could put on your person and take it with you and not be like a nuisance.
But is that what you want? Is that what you want? You want something to take with you to do this, or do you want another console? Because to me, what this is just turning into is just another console to play games on.
Right.
Well, where do we draw the
not-
line where it does more things than it's supposed to? That's intermixed with other things. Like if it was just meant for gaming, then yeah, we would probably have better games and stuff like that for it. But it's meant for other things and other like doodads and like everything in one type thing. But like my biggest complaint about VR is just the space that I need to play it in.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't just set that up in my living room and be comfortable and fine running around and doing shit.
Yeah.
But with the AR feature and stuff like that, maybe it does like a better outline of my stuff, of my room, where I can have that full experience. And then also having the controllers. If I didn't have the controllers and it follows the motion of my hands of picking up a gun and just racking it and shooting it, then that might be like something that we need to step forward to, is like no shit be away and it just be our eyes.
The motion tracking is supposed to be pretty solid.
That's what I heard.
The hands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even the original Oculus Quest, it was good.
So I think that's probably the next step to make this into something for gaming, is no controller and just the headset.
Yeah.
Because that would be like a
That's what Apple's doing.
The Sandbox VR
Yeah.
that we went to,
Yeah.
like, you know, we had this big play area.
Yeah.
And our actual, okay, so you go into this box and it's pretty big, but the actual play area we play in that box is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So the experience was fun, but you still were super limited on your space, and you're bumping into people, and you know the graphics.
You're really just standing
Okay,
still.
yeah, you really don't move around too much, and like so, like even that, like I feel like you need a freaking giant hangar that you can play in. And then people like create these worlds that fit in that hangar. Maybe there's like a, you know, stairs and a balcony or like an upstairs that you can go into and make it like an actual thing. Because just these small players, even your home, isn't the funnest.
I think it's just convert all laser tag arenas into VR.
Dude, that would be cool.
That'd be sweet.
And the bigger thing about it is just like you said with the motion sickness stuff. That is a real thing that can happen to people. And I don't think we have the technology or the time to make that into something that everyone can use. So that just minimizes the consumer rate right there alone. Is like people with motion sickness is like, that shit will fuck them up big time within like 20 minutes of playing the game or anything, no matter if it's the point or click or anything like that. I finally got motion sickness with one VR game that was Borderlands 2. And that one really hit me. Even with have fans blowing on me and stuff like that, trying to help me figure out that motion, I was just like, fuck. And I don't want to do the point and click the whole time because that seems like awkward and weird, and it takes me out of that immersive environment.
Yeah.
So I'd just rather just sit down and just play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's a lot of. I was reading an article here about how they're pitching these ideas of like what Apple Vision Pro was pitching, where you can watch your movies in here. So like you can have a 2.5-inch screen that like feels like you're in a movie theater anywhere.
I've done that with
Yeah.
HTC Vive.
Yeah.
I've worked on my computer with that too.
No.
It's not worth it. Well,
No.
okay, the HTC Vive was a lot heavier, especially it was very front heavy, and I think the FPS wasn't 100%, and there was
It's
some
probably better
lag.
now,
So
but it's
yeah,
still definitely like you still have
it's
a,
like
a weight on
I don't
your head.
want to do that. And plus, if you want to enjoy with somebody else, like, don't they need to
Yeah.
be having the same thing?
Yeah.
And then applying this, and this is why I laugh, applying this to the military side of things is about ridiculous. Like, there's certain scenarios that you come through with the military side. Not only that is like the military would not put the budget into this, expecting some 18-year-old to hold on to this and not fucking break it so they can waste some more money into it.
That's true.
They would more than likely buy the HTC Vive and give it that to us to get trained on. Like it, I just don't see that being a thing. But yeah,
fair enough.
I don't know. I feel like gaming side is just a not nostalgia. What did I say a while ago? It's just a gimmick. Right now, we're still at a gimmick phase. It's good foundation work, especially with the AR feature. I remember seeing, I think I mentioned this back in the day on the podcast, that this guy created a whole Minecraft server world with using VR and AR. He had it set up on like a table like this, and he just like built things and made this whole world, and then his little minion just ran in there and you can just play it.
See, that's cool.
That
That's
would
a cool
be cool.
game. Yeah.
That will be a cool game.
And they had like a D&D type of dungeon crawl thing just like that.
Oh,
where it's,
yeah, like a D&D, but it has to
little
cross over
table.
with PC
Yeah.
and stuff, where the dungeon master, if he's able to, purchase a VR set and play
Yeah,
it with
yeah.
that. And that's another thing. That's,
Yeah. I think so. I think it was on the Quest.
Yeah.
So that helps out a little bit because the Quest is more accessible.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be. Apparently, the Quest 2 is the best selling VR headset ever.
Yeah,
it
I believe it.
surpassed everything that's ever been out, PSVR, all that stuff, which is kind of crazy. So I would imagine that this one will probably fall in that same pathway. But I am really curious to know if it will be a giant leap forward, or will it be just a small step like it's been up to this point.
Small step.
Yeah. So I feel like VR is at a plateau. I don't think it's. I mean, I feel like it'd be on the decline at this point. I mean, I know headsets are more accessible. I mean, I feel like I don't know how many like new people are coming into VR opposed to just like people who just have it, or maybe they just want to upgrade. But like, I don't see any great games out there. Like, I'm curious why PlayStation's still doing it, because I was looking at how much the PlayStation VR they sold 5 million units. So I was trying to compare that to the actual sales of PlayStation.
That was the original VR.
Yeah, that was the original one. The actual sales of the PlayStation. I don't think that's it. I guess that was it. I thought it was a different figure.
Oh, that's a lifetime of PlayStation, so that's a long time.
That's not what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think they sold like 200 and something. Or is that what it said? 200 something million? I was trying to see how much the PlayStation 4 actually sold compared to how much they actually
It's like
sold.
7, not what it was, but
We'll look it up here in a second, but I just don't see how they viably like keep the play. I'm surprised they made a PlayStation VR 2. Like, yeah, I think 5 million is a good amount, but for Sony and for how much do they sell for the consoles, like, is it really helping them out any at all having this?
well, it's kind of just a way to be competitive in the gaming space. So they
Yeah,
don't
but-
like fall behind if it does become a big thing. Because the last thing you want to do is like miss out on the next big thing, and then if it does become the next big thing, you're fucked.
But what's Xbox doing?
Yeah, but it's PlayStation. They're like, I think they're doing way better than Xbox at the moment.
Technically,
I get
Xbox
it.
is technically Xbox is doing better by numbers, but
Shut up. No, they're not.
hey, I mean, I don't agree with it either.
PlayStation 4 sold 117 million units.
Okay,
over
that
the
sounds more
lifetime.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a way to it's a way to retain in the market, and it's for them, it's it's expensive, but I'm sure they're also learning ways to like the things that they're learning in PlayStation VR. The developers especially can probably be applied into regular games too. Like some of the new ways that they're able to like using this new space, and they have to have like, be more creative with how they build their games. It might actually be helping them with developing regular games in that process.
Maybe,
Because
yeah.
they're having to overcome more challenges. Then when they go back to a normal game, they're like, "Oh, this is easy."
Yeah.
Like because we can do all these things way better because we're not working with weird hardware that has to be fully 360.
360.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that
yes.
Meta's still doing anything with VR, especially after they lost 13.2 billion. Their Reality Labs operating losses last year. Like, that's a shit ton of money. Like, Mark Zuckerberg is like really putting all of his eggs in this basket for some reason. And like, obviously we heard about, the metaverse coming in 2020, and it's just kind of died over this time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, why is he still going down this route after all
It's
this?
still early. That's
True.
the thing. I mean,
It is.
What do you mean? What's early?
The technology is still early. Like he just invested in this a year ago. This wasn't intended to be. The metaverse is not going to happen overnight.
No.
And it's been 2-3 years since he did it. Like this is a 10-year project. This is a 20-year project. This is not a 5-year project.
Usually you have more people working on this, like different companies like, oh, we want to be a part of this. And there are companies who were technically involved in trying to get something going, but 13.2 billion, like, and they're like board of directors who get up there and be like, we're not losing any more money. We're getting out of this now. Like who's approving this to keep going forward and losing more money? Like people aren't on the metaverse right now. Like it's a slow trickle and he's just like putting all of his eggs in a basket. Yeah. So I was like, I just don't see how this continues.
Well, Amazon,
it's possible.
Amazon didn't see a profit for 20 years, 20 plus years. So it took them a long time to make money.
True.
So it's going to take. Facebook has been making money up to this point until he invested in this. So like,
yeah,
I understand. I know what you're saying. Like I'm not discounting what you're saying in any way. It's just that this is something that I think a lot of people don't see that in order for a new this is a complete shift in like. This is almost like the Industrial Revolution kind of era in a sense, where it's like pre and post Industrial Revolution was a significant change in everything in society. Computer, when that was invented, was a significant change. I think if this is the next thing, this will be to the level of scale that like a computer would have been back in the day.
I see what you're saying.
So it's just we just haven't hit that point yet because the computer took 20 years. Like we invented the internet like well before the internet ever actually became a thing. Like they knew how to do the technology. It just took a while. I mean, it took Tesla 15 years before they ever made a car that actually sold something.
Yeah.
So that and that was impressive for them too because I mean it took Ford way back in the day 30 years or something like that to go from like inventing the car to like actually having an assembly line to produce this. So it's not they're not like developing a new product, they're developing a new ecosystem. And like I mean it's just like this AI stuff, it's moving super fast, but we don't know what it's going to do, what impact it's going to have until 10 years from now. And then it's going to be like, holy shit, that's like a whole different world to us.
Well, more of a rhetorical question, but I wonder how many were private companies versus a public company. This is a public company.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I felt like they'd be like, hey, you're losing us a shit ton of money. Stop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This might be the future, but you need to stop right now.
Yeah, I am surprised that I'm surprised he was even able to do this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, to put all this money into it for that reason, that they are publicly traded, you know. It's
and because all this stuff's been bad up until now. Like, they finally got this cool new feature. I don't know if you saw the interview of him and another guy.
Oh my god, I did. That was so fucking weird.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing.
That's so weird.
It was just from their shoulders.
Yeah.
And it looked so real.
But they're in a black void.
They're in a black void, but it just like you can tell the interviewer was just very like freaked out about it because he kept leaning over it, and every angle that he looked at, you can see the full feature of Mark Zuckerberg. And just like
how you doing?
And he was just saying, he's just like, this is weird, you know?
Yeah.
This is like, ooh.
That's what it needed out of the gate.
Yeah. I also want to mention too that although this is a risky move right now, I think Mark Zuckerberg knows that Facebook has a shelf life. Like it's a powerhouse right now, but it's dwindling. It's losing users. It's losing stuff. Social networking as it exists today is not going to be here in 10 years.
What?
Like it's
I'm still on MySpace, dude.
It's going to be completely gone. And so like that's what they're doing is he's preparing for what is Facebook 10 years from now so that they don't become a company that is gone. You know, so that's what he's trying to prep for. And it makes sense. It's just like is he taking the right gamble, you know? Is he betting in the right spaces? So, we'll see. I don't know.
We shall see.
But it is exciting. It's interesting. But it is sadly disappointing in a lot of ways. It's like, man, I wish the games were better. I wish they were more like what I envisioned in my head.
I think there's just too many limitations for VR, and that's really stopping it.
Yeah.
And before, we didn't know what the limitations were. We thought we could overcome those, which is like room size and stuff. But that quickly became like, well,
Once we can
It
put
is
chips
what
in our
it
head
is.
to make us forget motion sickness is a thing, we'll be good.
Once we put chips in our head, we can make reality anything.
yeah.
Hey, we just
what's
lay
the-
in bed in the morning and conquer D&D world.
Yeah.
So what's the final verdict?
I'm gonna buy one actually.
I'm not.
I don't know when I'm gonna buy it, but I want to try out. I just love. I don't know. I'm still like positive on this. I don't know whether bullish, bearish. I guess I'm bullish on it or whatever. Like I'm still.
Oh, whenever
positive
you
on
buy it, I'll come over and try it out, and we
Yeah.
can review it together.
I will. Yeah.
Sure.
Let's do it. Let us know what y'all think. Are you excited about this new headset? Will it bring you back to VR? Have you not left VR? I don't know. Love to hear from you.
Probably watching us in VR, seeing all the
That's right.
stuffs zoomed in
Yeah.
on me,
Yeah.
baby girl.
Baby Gary.
That's it.
All right, let's do intro outro real quick, and then I gotta leave.
Intro, outro.